fasting 6 days of Shawwal, which is the month that comes after Ramadan. If you do that, the reward is that Allah will grant you the reward as if you fasted the whole year, the whole 12 months. And these 6 days, I know that the majority of Muslims fast them. And they don't fast them in sequence. You can fast a day here, 2 days there, as long as they are in the month of Shawwal. Fasting the day of Arafah. Fasting the day of Ashura also is voluntary. Fasting 9 days of the month of the Hajj. Fasting what we call the white days, which are the 13th, 14th, and the 15th of every lunar month. If you fast them, you are rewarded accordingly. Fasting every Monday and Thursday of the week. And I know a lot of guys, and see, we make problems. There is no problem. We make problems. I know a lot of guys that fast Monday and Thursday of every single week. And it does not stop them from playing sports. It does not stop them from socializing, going to work, acting normally. But it definitely gets them closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, while we in this material world are getting further and further from Allah. Also, the third type of fasting is the fasting which is forbidden. It is forbidden for you to do it. And if you do it, you are sinful and it's not accepted. For example, fasting the whole year. Somebody would think that, hey, listen, I'm fit. I can do it. So I want to fast every single day of the year. This is not acceptable. The Prophet ﷺ said that this is not acceptable and he is sinful if doing that. Also, fasting the Eid. The days that we celebrate, we have 2 Eids every year. The first day after Ramadan and the 10th day of the Dhul Hijjah. If you fast them, it's not accepted. Even if you vow, if you say, I want to fast those days, it's not accepted, it's not acceptable. Also, it's forbidden for a woman to fast, voluntary fast, without the acceptance and the approval of her husband. And this illustrates the power and the level of greatness the husband should have in the heart of his wife. She is not allowed to fast without his approval. Now, if she's fasting Ramadan, she does not need approval. If she's fasting obligatory, his permission is not needed. But if she wants to fast Mondays and Thursdays, then this is not acceptable until she gets his approval. And if you look at it in different ways, you would find out that the status of the husband is way up high, so that the life in the Muslim house would go on smoothly. But if the wife thinks that I'm like this, he's a man, I'm a woman, so what the heck? Whenever I want to fast, I fast. Whenever I want to go, I go. Whenever I want to do what I want to do, I can do that without his approval. Then we are in deep trouble, because then they would have different opinions and they will have clashes, and eventually divorce would take place. I will elaborate on this a little bit further, inshallah, next lesson, but it's time for questions and answers. So does anybody have a question? Yes, sir.
Does volunteer fast have the same reward as fasting in Ramadan?
Definitely not. See, the best deed, the best action, the best form of worship you can do is the obligatory thing. There is nothing that draws you closer to Allah better than obligatory acts. So, by logic, if somebody says, what is better, to make up for 1 day of Ramadan which I did not fast, or to fast Thursdays just for the sake of voluntary fasting? Definitely the obligatory thing is great in reward and greater than any other type of voluntary actions. Nevertheless, voluntary fasting is nothing to be neglected. Allah Azza wa the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whoever fasts a day in the path of Allah, fi sabilillah, why are you fasting this day? It's for Allah Azza wa Jal. Then Allah will draw his face 70 years away from hellfire. Imagine if you're 70 years, a distance of 70 years away from fire. How many sins do you need to get into hell? Lots. So this is only for fasting one day. Some scholars say that this is the voluntary day. If you do it for the sake of Allah, Allah will take you away from hell for this distance of 70 years, and this is nothing that one should neglect. Any other question? Yes, sir.
I wanted to know why did Allah leave the exact date of Laylatul Qadr a mystery? Why didn't He specify it?
See, this is for us to work out harder. If a teacher tells you, I'm going to ask you in the examination, the final examination, in these 100 questions, you will put more effort to cope with these questions and know their answers. But if he gives you one question and you answer that question, how do you think your knowledge would be? It would be very minimal. But when you prepare for 100 questions, your knowledge is way beyond comprehension. Almost it's the same with Laylatul Qadr. If we know the exact night, the exact time, I would not care about fasting Ramadan, the whole month of Ramadan. I would not care about praying Taraweeh, night prayer, in the whole of Ramadan. I would just wait until they say, listen, it's on the 27th of Ramadan. Oh, that's cool. On the 27th, I am 100% free to do all the prayers and do all the dua and do everything that is good. And after that, hit the sack. Khalas, it's over. When it's over, it's over. This is wrong. We don't have this way of dealing with Allah Azza wa Jal. We thrive. We try our best to do whatever that is possible to draw us closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's why it is moving from place to place. I hope that this answers your question. Is there any other question? Okay.
Persons who fast are supposed to be close to Allah and to have an answerable invocation. But why do many people invoke Allah but don't have their invocation answered?
Well, to answer your question, I think we would need probably a lot of time to do this. But to put it in a nutshell, answering Allah Azza wa Jal has 3 grades. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to answer your prayer, is in 3 forms. Once you say, oh Allah, give me $1,000. It's there. He gives it to you. He answered it, okay? The second form, you say, oh Allah, give me $1,000. Allah Azza wa Jal does not give you the $1,000. He fixes it somewhere else.